Alright, so we're going to take a look at our weekly design challenge. Now, the image I have in front of you isn't exactly what the design challenge is going to be, but I'm going to run through a quick tutorial on how to make this, and then in your OneNote activity I'll have another set of drawings similar to these that you'll be working from. So what we're looking at is a drawing in Fusion 360, specifically an orthographic. So this is an orthographic drawing, meaning we've got a front view, a top view, and a side view. And you can't see it in 3 dimensions. Up here in the corner, we've got an isometric drawing, meaning we can see it in 3D. One thing with this isometric drawing, you can also see these dotted lines in the back. Those are representing edges that are hidden. And you can see the hidden lines as well here, represented by the same dotted lines. Just gives you an idea of things like holes that would go all the way through. But let's take a look at how we can start modeling and making this piece in Fusion 360. And this would be some sort of, say, axle holder, something to hold a round bar. So I am going to go up and create a new drawing. New design. So I'm going to go up to New, Design, and open that up. We're going to make a sketch, so I'm just going to go Create Sketch on one of my planes, and I'm going to start by drawing the bottom of my piece. So if I look here, the bottom of my piece would be a rectangle that is 50 millimeters by 100 millimeters wide, so 50 by 100, with a depth of 20, so 50, 100, 20. I'm going to come over here, draw my rectangle. So starting here, we're going to go up. I'm typing 50 on the keyboard, hitting the tab key. I'm typing 100, enter. There's my rectangle. So I'm going to finish that sketch, and I'm going to extrude it, that 20 that we saw in the diagram. So that gives me the base of that little bracket. Come back here. So we've got the bottom part done, minus the fillets. The next one is to draw this back piece. Now if I look at the back piece, we can see that it comes up. The center of that hole and center of that arc is 50 mils from the bottom. The hole has a diameter of 25, so that little symbol there is diameter. And the top arc has a radius of 25. Diameter would be 50 on that. I'm seeing I've actually missed a dimension on here, so I'm going to sneakily dump that dimension in. So we know that the width of this, the depth, is 20 millimeters. So I'm going to pop back in here and start by drawing those circles. Alright, so I'm going to create a sketch. Just create it on the back. So I'm looking at the back of the thing. I'm going to create a circle. Now remember, the diameter of the first one was 25. And then the dimensions show the radius of the second one being 50. And they use the same center point. Now, say I drew my circle, my 50, and it wasn't quite aligning. I could use my concentric constraint to say this is concentric to that. And then that moves it. Now we're way out of place, but I'll just put it back over here for now. That's fine. So let's check the dimension from here to the bottom. So from there, it looks like 50 millimeters from the center point to the bottom, and 50 millimeters from the edge to the center point. Bump back here, and I'm going to use my Create Sketch Dimension tool. I want to go from here to here. Let's try that again, to here. That is going to be 50. So I hit enter, set that up at 50. And we're going to go from here to here, and we're also going to make that 50. So I've got that circle placed where it's supposed to be. If I look back in here, I've got two lines coming from the point tangent, from the point tangent up to this arc here. And I know it's tangent because if you look at it, you can see how it's just flowing nicely around. I don't have the constraint marked on there, but we can assume that that's going to be a tangent bend. So back over here, I can do another line coming from here, and I can move it over so you can see that tangent symbol, or I can just go like that, and use the tangent constraint. So click on tangent constraint. So you might be over here if you're in the old version, and lock that in. And I'll do another line here from here to here, and I'll use tangent constraint again to constrain the two together. So you can see there's my tangent symbol. I've got a little bit sticking out there, so I'm going to grab the trim command. Oop, wrong part. We'll undo that. We'll try it again. So trim. We'll trim that, and we'll trim this because we don't need that as well. So that's giving us that basic shape. I can finish that sketch, and we're going to use the extrude tool again to extrude this out 20. It says -20. We're moving in. Let's just double check that our thickness of that, yep, it's 20. So that's all good. So now we've got that basic shape. The next thing that we've got on here is these two mounting holes at the bottom. So I've got, it looks like they're 15 mils in from the sides. So 15 mil from the front in, 15 mil from the side in, and they've got a diameter of 10 millimeters. Notice how circles are marked with the diameter and fillets are marked with a radius. Alright, so we'll jump back in here. We're going to start a new sketch on that front plane, and I'm going to draw two circles. So one there and one there. So we know that the circles are equal, so I'm going to grab my equal constraint. It might be over here if you're on the old version. So that's equal to that. Good. I'm going to go to create sketch dimension and say that this is 10 millimeters, like the drawing said, and I'm going to apply a dimension from here to here of 15, from here to here, also 15, that's perfect, from here to here, 15, and from here to here, that should also be 15, so I'm just going to click on the same dimension here, which will copy this number and put it over on that one. So now I've got 15 all the way around, we've got them equal, they're 10. I can finish that sketch, grab my extrude tool, and we'll click on both of those, and we're going to extrude them through. Now I know the size is -20, but just in case we go to model this later, it is parametric. I could say just all or to object, we'll just say all, and then if I change this, it will always just cut through the whole thing. So I cut that through, and you can see those two holes. The next thing is on our drawing, you'll see that there's a little gusset sitting here in the middle. That gusset is at 45 degrees, and it looks like we are missing another dimension again, so we can sneak that dimension in. It's actually a pretty hard one to put in, but we can guess. So it says 8.54. It's not overly accurate, but that's because it's going from the center. We could undo that, and we'll see if I can get a dimension from the center point of that arc to that line. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't want to let me do that. We're going to assume that that's 10. So back over here. So to do that, I need to make a new work plane in the middle of my piece. So I'm going to go construct. I'm going to click on a side. And remember how we made this 100 long? So therefore the center would be at -50. I'm going to click enter on that. Start a sketch on that work plane. Let's use these arrows to move it around. So now I'm sketching in the space. I'm going to project my geometry, so project include project, of this line and this line because I know I'm going to be working with those. And we'll drop another line in here. I'm not too worried about the length quite yet. So I've got a line. We're going to go create sketch dimensions again. From there to there, it should give us an angle dimension. You can see that. Now it said 45 on my drawing, so we're going to set that to 45. And I'm going to add a dimension from there to there. Now, I know that I don't have an accurate dimension on this in the drawing, but we're just going to say 10 and bring that in. The reason the drawing this drawing here is not accurate. It's because that fillet's kind of playing with our dimension. Alright, so I've got that. I can now finish the sketch. And you can see that little line in there. We're going to extrude again. So we click on that, and the change here is I want it to be symmetric. So it's going to go, when I pull this out both ways, I'm going to check my drawing again and just see how wide that is. Now again, missing dimensions. So it's 20. That's alright. So we'll come back over here and we're going to edit that feature. So that should be, there we go. So it's 10 on both sides. That's correct. So we're going to go OK. So now we've got the little gusset in place. If we look back at our drawing, the only thing really left to do are the fillets on the corners here, and in there. It looks like these fillets are 5mm radius, and those bigger ones are 15mm radius. So over here, back on my drawing, fillet, I want to fillet this, 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 and this. Those are going to be 5mm. That puts those marks on, or those fillets in. And I want to fillet this one and this one, and those are going to be 15mm. And that gives us the finished part. Alright, so give that a try, and we'll give you another one with some different dimensions.